I am Adam, defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my scaredy cat tiger. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my necklace and it transformed into a magic sword, and I said, "By the power of Grayskull!"
I have the power! Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. A few others share in this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, Orko, and my childhood friend, Teela. Together, we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Chapter 3, Secrets Unveiled. Xander's footsteps echoed through the quiet halls of Duncan's house as he rushed inside, the urgency in his movements palpable. The air seemed charged with tension as he found Duncan in the living room, working on a piece of machinery.
"Mr. Duncan!"
Xander exclaimed breathlessly.
"Something's happened to Adam. We were attacked and these otherworldly beings appeared."
Duncan looked up from his work, his eyes narrowing with concern.
"Attacked? What do you mean?"
Teela entered the room, a mixture of worry and determination etched on her face.
"Xander, slow down. What happened?"
Xander took a deep breath, composing himself.
"We were in the park and these creatures, like nothing I've ever seen, appeared. And there was some dude named Skeletor. He knew Adam's name, Mr. Duncan."
Duncan's expression darkened.
Skeletor. This is worse than I feared. Teela, we need to move quickly. Xander, tell me everything that happened."
Xander recounted the encounter, describing the appearance of Skeletor and the battle that ensued. Duncan listened attentively, his mind racing.
"Xander, stay here with Teela. We need to act strategically."
Duncan instructed, his voice firm. Teela nodded, her eyes focused on Xander.
"You did well coming here."
Duncan moved to a hidden compartment in the basement. He pulled out his well-worn man-at-arms mace, a symbol of his role as Eternia's chief military strategist. Alongside it, he carefully extracted a snake staff, a weapon infused with ancient Eternian magic.
"These will help us against Skeletor's forces,"
Duncan explained, handing Teela the snake staff.
"Defend yourself with these, Teela. We don't know what we're up against."
Teela gripped the staff, a determined glint in her eyes.
"We can't let anything happen to Adam. Let's go."
"No, you and Xander stay here. I need you to keep the house safe."
Duncan explained, and as Teela started to protest he shot her a stern look and she backed down. As Duncan headed out, the urgency of the situation hung in the air like a storm on the horizon. His thoughts raced, formulating a plan to confront Skeletor and protect Adam. Outside, the sky darkened, shadows lengthening as Duncan hurried towards the park where the battle had unfolded. Secrets of their past and the destiny intertwined with Eternia were about to be unveiled, and the journey ahead promised challenges that none of them could have foreseen.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
Hello everybody, I apologise for butting in on what you're listening to, but I wanted to introduce you guys to a brand new podcast called the Tiger Nexus Podcast. I'm Tiger, and I'm the host. I'm mostly known for the Tiger Tales YouTube channels, where you'll find stories and fanfictions that I write and read to you guys. I'm also a co-founder of the Three Range Bro Studios, but I wanted to dive into this whole podcasting thing. I'm a content creator, and I adore making content of all sorts of varieties, and I want to interview people that enjoy and make content as well. And we're talking about all sorts of things, from TikToks to YouTube to story writing to storytelling, podcasts, movies and TV shows, all forms of content you can think of, I want to interview people about. So there's going to be lots of different variety. So make sure you check out the Tiger Nexus Podcast on YouTube and Spotify.
And now back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
The park was a battleground, the clash of titans echoing through the trees. He-Man, wielding the Sword of Power, faced Skeletor, the embodiment of malevolence. Their strikes and parries were a dance of power and skill, but Skeletor's dark magic proved to be a formidable adversary. With He-Man's lack of experience, Skeletor's cunning tactics began to take their toll. Each swing of Skeletor's havoc staff was met with the resounding clash of He-Man's sword, but the struggle was evident on the hero's face. Just as Skeletor prepared for a final, decisive strike, a blur of motion entered the fray. Man-at-Arms, fully suited up in his battle gear, swung his mace with precision, landing a powerful blow on Skeletor's side. Skeletor staggered, momentarily stunned by the unexpected attack. He turned his bony visage toward Man-at-Arms, disbelief in his hollow eyes.
Duncan, I thought you were dead.
Duncan, undeterred, raised his mace defiantly.
You should have learned, Skeletor. You can't destroy Eternia so easily.
With a roar of rage, Skeletor lunged at Man-at-Arms. The two engaged in a fierce hand-to-hand combat, the clash of their weapons resonating through the air. Duncan fought with the determination of a man defending his home, his every move calculated and precise. As the battle raged, it seemed as if victory might belong to Man-at-Arms. His mace struck true, forcing Skeletor to stumble backward. But in the midst of the chaos, a dark portal began to materialize beneath Skeletor. Triclops, and Beast-Man Skeletor, sensing the impending danger, glared at Man-at-Arms.
This isn't over, Duncan. I will return, and Eternia will be mine!
Before Duncan could respond, the portal consumed Skeletor and his cohorts, spiriting them away. The air shimmered and crackled with the remnants of dark magic as the portal closed. Duncan stood, catching his breath, his gaze never leaving the spot where Skeletor had vanished. He-Man, reverting back to his human form as Adam, approached Duncan with a mixture of gratitude and concern.
Duncan, you came just in time,
Adam said, a weariness in his eyes. Duncan clapped a hand on Adam's shoulder.
We stand together, Adam. Now, we need to prepare. Skeletor won't rest until he gets what he wants.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
Hey, avid podcast listener, come on over to the Zero to Hero podcast to listen to Billy and Jimmy, myself, talk about all kinds of things from the Nerdverse, Power Rangers, Gundams, anime, random TV shows, diseases, economic turmoil, and how to scam people on crypto.
And now back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
The park, once a battleground, now stood silent, the echoes of the conflict fading into the twilight. Adam, now returned to his human form, lay on the grass, his breathing heavy. Teela and Xander ran up ready to fight. Duncan knelt beside Adam, concern etched across his face.
Adam, are you alright?
Adam managed a weak smile.
I'll be fine, Duncan. Just need a minute to catch my breath.
Teela's eyes flashed with a mix of relief and determination.
Who were those creatures? And who is Skeletor?
Duncan sighed, his gaze shifting to the horizon.
Skeletor has ways of finding out things.
As Teela and Xander prepared to defend against an unseen threat, Duncan reassured them.
Stand down. The danger has passed. At least, for now.
Teela, with her staff still in hand, shot Duncan a questioning look.
But we can't let our guard down. Skeletor could return.
Duncan nodded, acknowledging the truth in her words.
You're right, Teela. We must remain vigilant.
Just then, Adam groaned and began to sit up, wincing in pain.
Easy, Adam,
Duncan said, helping him up.
You took a beating back there.
Teela cast a discerning eye over Adam's wounds.
We need to get him back to the house and tend to those injuries.
With Duncan on one side and Xander on the other, they assisted Adam to his feet. Teela walked ahead, her gaze scanning the surroundings for any lingering threats. Back at Duncan's house, they guided Adam to his room. The air in the room was heavy with the scent of herbs and ointments as Teela tended to his injuries. A soft whimper drew their attention. At Adam's bedside, a green and yellow striped tiger, Cringer, stood, his eyes reflecting concern.
It's okay, Cringer. Adam will be fine.
Duncan reassured the tiger, patting his head. Tila glanced at the scene, a hint of a smile playing on her lips.
He's quite protective of Adam.
Xander, watching the interaction, couldn't help but marvel at the bonds between these extraordinary beings.
This is unbelievable. I mean, I knew Adam had a pet, but not that it was a tiger!
Duncan nodded.
There's much you don't know, Xander. We'll need to share more with you in time.
The living room was cast in the warm glow of the fireplace as Xander bid his farewell and headed home. Once the door closed behind him, Tila turned to her father with a look that demanded answers.
Alright, Dad. Enough with the secrets. What's going on? Who is Adam, really?
Tila crossed her arms, her expression a mix of frustration and concern.
I want to know the same thing,
Adam insisted. Duncan motioned for them to sit down. With Tila and Cringer's assistance, they settled on the couch, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. Duncan began to weave the story of Eternia, of a kingdom in peril, and of a prince whose destiny was entwined with the fate of an entire realm. As he spoke, the weight of responsibility settled on Adam's shoulders.
We're not from here. Here is in Earth, are we?
Tila pressed, her eyes narrowing. Duncan nodded.
No, we're not. We're from a realm called Eternia.
Tila's eyebrows shot up, a mix of disbelief and curiosity on her face.
Eternia? That's otherworldly.
Duncan continued, recounting a tale that seemed straight out of a fantasy epic. He explained that Adam was the crown prince of Eternia and that when he was born, Skeletor attacked the kingdom. To protect Adam, Duncan had fled to Earth Realm with both Adam and Tila.
And we've been hiding here ever since,
Duncan concluded. Adam leaned on Cringer, absorbing the weight of this revelation.
So, I'm a prince.
Duncan nodded, a fatherly pride in his eyes.
You're more than that, Adam. You're destined for greatness, and that is why Skeletor is so determined to find you.
And what about what happened in the park?
Adam asked, his eyes searching Duncan's for answers. Duncan's gaze shifted to Tila, and a silent communication passed between them. He shook his head subtly, a plea for silence. Tila looked between her father and Adam but remained silent, her eyes reflecting the complexity of emotions she felt. The room held a heavy silence as the truth of Eternia unfolded, and the heroes faced a destiny that would shape not only their lives but the very fabric of the universe.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
Moonies of the world unite! I am Cosplay Dude 637, and I've got a cosmic announcement for all you Sailor Moon enthusiasts out there. Get ready to experience the magic like never before with Sailor Moon E. A dark and malevolent force has returned, but so has a legendary force. The Knights of Heaven, Zoisite, Jedi, Nephrite, and Kunzite are back with new human bodies ready to protect their prince, aka Tuxedo Mask. Come, join Sailor Moon and her Sailor Guardians along with Tuxedo Mask and his Knights of Heaven as they embark on a celestial journey filled with intrigue, battle of cosmic proportions, and the resurge of an ancient power that could change everything. So, why should you tune in? Because Sailor Moon is not just a podcast, it's a portal into the enchanting world of Sailor Moon, where nostalgia meets new adventures. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platforms. Search for Sailor Moon E and join me, Cosplay Dude 637, as we uncover secrets and embrace the magic that has captivated fans worldwide.
And now back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Duncan's gaze held a mixture of determination and concern as he looked at Tila and Adam. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air.
Now that Skeletor knows where we are, he will not stop.
Duncan explained, his voice carrying the weight of years of battles and resilience.
We have no choice but to return to Eternia.
Tila's brow furrowed as she absorbed the gravity of the situation.
How are you going to do that? And why can't we just stay here and fight?
Duncan sighed, choosing his words carefully.
Adam's sword necklace is more than a piece of jewelry. It's magical. With it, he can open a portal that will take us back to Eternia. As for staying and fighting here, Earthrealm is not equipped to handle the kind of forces Skeletor can bring. It's just not safe.
Tila nodded, her expression reflecting a sense of duty.
We can't let Skeletor wreak havoc here. I'm in.
Adam, however, was less convinced.
But what about my life here? My friends? I can't just leave everything behind?
Duncan placed a comforting hand on Adam's shoulder.
I know it's a lot to ask, Adam, but your destiny is in Eternia. The longer we delay, the more danger we bring to Earthrealm.
Adam's eyes flickered with frustration and conflict.
I didn't ask for this destiny. Why should I have to give up everything?
Tila interjected, her voice firm.
Adam, sometimes destiny chooses us. We can't run from it. We have to face it.
Duncan added.
Your friends here will be safe. We'll find a way to protect them, but Eternia needs you, Adam. The fate of the realm rests on your shoulders.
The room fell into a heavy silence as Adam grappled with the choices before him. The flickering flames in the fireplace cast shadows on the walls, mirroring the internal struggle within the young prince. As the weight of their decision settled upon them, Tila and Duncan waited, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, and the choices made today would shape the destiny of worlds.
This podcast is a production of the Three Ranger Bros Studios, in association with Zio to Hero, the podcast. Thank you all for listening to that story. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a reminder that all my fanfictions are just that, fanfictions, and does not mean to infringe on the mainstream continuity that it's from. Now, I'd like to take a little bit of time to thank all those that support me. First off, you have the Three Ranger Bros Studio, which consists of myself, CosplayDude637, my Parabatai and dear friend, Ty Tiger, with all his YouTube channels, Tiger Tales, and his new podcast, the Tiger Nexus Podcast. Then, of course, last but definitely not least, we have Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger, with his podcast, Nerds Through Comics. And then there's the guys at Zio to Hero, the podcast, Jim and Billy, the bulk and skull of podcasting. Anything nerdy you think you have ever talked about, I guarantee they have an episode about it. So, definitely go check them out. Then, we have Jared over on If You Give a Dad a Podcast. An amazing guy, a dad, like myself, that just loves talking to nerdy people about every subject. So definitely go give him a listen also. Then there's Jacob, aka the Iron Avenger, on TikTok and Instagram. We also have to give a shout out to Ben, the Baker Ranger. And last but not least, there is Tony, our good friend. And an honorable mention to the late, great Rebel Ranger, Sam. We love you, we miss you. Every person I just mentioned is a member of the Zio to Hero Network. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of time to mention some of the friends of the Zio to Hero Network. First off, we have Casey from the Mighty Morphin Conspiracy Theories, Justin, aka A-Crown, from the Author's Crown YouTube channel, Johnson of Western Strike, Rob, aka Lightning Collector 2021, James, better known as Beauty_Baba Yaga, Justin the Green Spartan Ranger, and Michael and Nathan of the Power Trip. Everyone I just named has been a huge supporter to me and my podcast, and if you can, go give them a follow. It would mean the world to me. Thanks a lot. Until next time, guys. Later days.